Hello and welcome back to another vlog. Today I am heading to Hatch Warren Summer Fair. This one would normally have a dog show with it. However, because of the heat, it's supposed to hit like 29 degrees today. They've cancelled that. So it's just going to be the fair instead. This was the first market that I did last year. So it will be nice to do like a little comparison of when I first started to comparing it to a year later and where I'm at now. So let's go see how we do. So this was my first ever market that I did last year, so I thought I'd do a little comparison of where I am at now with outdoor markets, because my outdoor setup is slightly different from my indoor setup, but I think it's still a good way to compare then and now anyway, and also it just shows how far I've come. So nothing has changed in the fact that I forget things, because I did in fact forget my second tablecloth that you can just see me realising here. I normally have a tablecloth for each table, however I did not remember that, so I managed to stretch it so that it just about hangs over each side. I did make it work in the end, so that was fine. I didn't bother lint rolling it because we're outside, there's going to be pollen and dust and everything that's going to get all over it anyway, so I didn't bother lint rolling it, and it's going to go in the wash after this market anyway. So I'm cutting out a lot of my setup in this time lapse just because I've filmed myself setting up a very similar setup each time, and also next week I am going to Hampshire Pet Fair where I will have a similar kind of setup and I will be filming that. So I decided on the charm wall to just go 3 high, and I'm not going any further, but on the other side where you've got my ask me about my cat t-shirt, I've gone 4 high just to allow them to be hung up. I was going to hang straight from the structural supports on the gazebo, but sometimes I find this a bit awkward just because they're at angles, so I decided to use the grids instead for the t-shirts. Also, you can tell how hot it is just from my face. I do look a bit like a tomato. Yeah, it was very hot. I will always say remember to hydrate because I'm really bad for this, but I brought like 3 water bottles with me filled with squash, so I managed to remember to drink enough, but that still wasn't enough because I did actually get a headache by the time I got home. 4th water bottle I think is needed in future. So I just have to straighten up all my key rings and then that will be done. And then for my sun catchers, I actually purchased some extra little tiny bulldog clips. I know you can get the stoppers to stop things from flying off like the ends of the hooks. However, the mini bulldog clips were actually going to be more functional for me just because I could use them for actually hanging up display signs as well. Because I do find that quite a lot of the time my display ends up looking very bulldog clip heavy and I don't really like that. So I'm going to start using the small ones in future. This is what my display is looking like. So I hung the desk mats up on the side wall, and then I put the bum bags actually on the table, which I don't normally do, but it's all a very similar setup than what I normally do. There's just a few tweaks, but nothing too majorly different. And here's a little preview of what my setup looked like in 2024 compared to this year's setup, and I think you can see that I've grown quite a bit. I'm going to do a very quick update now because I've just finished setting up, and I will have inserted some clips of that. It is so hot and so muggy. I also don't know if you can hear me or if I'm going to be able to use this clip because there's music playing really loud. But I've kept up two walls at the back here so that I've got a bit more shade. There is a bit of a breeze, but it's not a huge amount, so I have got my fan. This is what the back's looking like. I didn't bother making extra shelves up here because I actually brought my spare table. I've got a little one that I use at home for when I'm getting like loads of stock ready. So I've got my towel there to wipe away sweat. They provided 2 chairs, and I've got all my t-shirts stocked down there. And then this is it. Also, my bottle broke. I went to push the lid up and it snapped. I only bought this at the Bath and West because I forgot mine when I went to my mum and dad's, but never mind. I guess that will be going in the bin because at the moment this doesn't stay closed at all, so that's great. So we are 1 hour into the summer festival and I have made more than I did the first year that I was here. So I've made about 83 quid at the moment, so that's really good for 1 hour at any market for me. So let's see what the next 3 hours do. So it's 2 PM, again, don't know if you can hear me or not. I've now made 150 quid, so that was my goal for today because it's only a small event, so I didn't really expect much. But a little update, it's actually raining at the moment. Not great, it's only raining a little bit, so it's not too bad, but luckily there's no rain coming in this side, so I don't have to put up that extra wall, but hopefully it stops soon. So we've only got about 20 minutes left, but best sellers for today have been my Firecat, everything is fine. It's also been the Tuxedo, which is normally quite a good seller. I've actually only got 1 magnet left of that one, and the Firecat I only have 1 keyring left. I sold a couple packs of the Celestial sticker pack. Oddly, coasters haven't done very well today, which they normally do. I did sell a bum bag, so the blue one has gone. I did sell one of these ones, which I was quite happy about because that would be the first one that I've ever sold of them. And then I sold a few of the sun catchers as well. So I'm quite happy with how it went today. I made about 200 just over, so that was better than I'd anticipated. So I may go again next year. So I actually now have a little mic that I can use for markets and stuff. I purchased it after this event. I'm actually recording with it now just to test the sound quality, and I think it's good. I've done some tests with having the TV on loud in the background for talking and music just to see how the sound cancelling works, and I think it's going to work a bit better. It's not the most amazing microphone. It was like £18 off Amazon, but I'm hoping that it's going to be better than what my phone can cope with. So I also thought I'd just do a little film of me packing down just so that I could do a little roundup of how the event went and everything after I've gone through all my expenses. So in the end I actually made 220 quid, which I was thrilled about because at the end of the day this is a small local market. It's very family and kid orientated, which is not my audience and I know that, but it actually went well for me. Last year I made like 63 quid, so the fact that I made 83 in the first hour was pretty impressive, to be honest, and I was thrilled about that. The pitch was like 25 or 30 pound, I can't exactly remember the amount. So after all my product costs and everything were taken off, I was left with about 150 quid profit, so that's really nice. And I'm actually going to be putting this money towards paying for more tables. So I've actually applied for Birmingham MegaCon for next March. This is going to go towards paying for that table, so I am really looking forward to that. Yes, I did knock over my display just then. We broke like 2 connectors in the process. I was a bit of an idiot, and this is what happens when you are tired. Severely pollen overdrive moment and everything, but you know what, it doesn't matter. I was going to leave the walls together, that was my aim, but because they broke partially, I just decided to take them down. I also left the smaller card stand together, which I don't normally do, but I couldn't be bothered to try and take it apart, and it fit with the other one anyway. So I'm not sure which video is going to be going up next, so it's going to be a surprise. It's either going to be another market vlog or it's going to be a portrait commission vlog. But I will catch you in the next one. Bye!